Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, April 16th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And then also for you Bitcoin traders, I will do a bonus Bitcoin analysis at the end. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick right there will still be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos where the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, HUBC. And quite the mover today as it's made higher highs and higher lows over the past few days. Bit of a pullback right here, but broadly speaking, everything is still perfectly fine. So on that note, let's just start with the easy part, and that is the area of resistance. And nothing fancy or complicated here in terms of logic other than asking the question, where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at $2.11. You can see once right there and then twice a second time the price got rejected. Now, as I speak, the price is trying to work its way back up there, but $2.11 will be public enemy number one headed into Tuesday. And then in terms of, and let me offer up a little bit more perspective, if the price can't push up through there, then you're noticing here that would be putting the price up at highs that have not been seen for weeks upon weeks. So 211 definitely a very interesting and very key level from the charting standpoint. In terms of levels of support, I think the easiest way to go about this is just to use the overarching level, that purple line down there, the 50 period moving average. Keyword being moving because I get it, that line's kind of irrelevant right now given the price is way up here. That level's way down here. But as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So just kind of keep an eye on that as the trend line that's going to draw itself for you. And I like to call moving averages trend lines for lazy people because, yeah, as time goes by, that line is going to, quote unquote, draw itself for you as time goes on. So just use that overall trend line right there. Again, to be specific, a moving average. And as long as the price stays above that purple line, then the chart is overall fully in the bull's favor. Next one, SQQQ. Talked about this on Friday, so this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched that video, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that area of resistance right there, that red line at $11.05. And you can see with the price coming up through there. Actually, it was rejected once, but the second time it tried right there, got the break, and the rest is history. Very, very impressive move. So that's where the first update comes into play, and this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closes above, you want to see them act as support. So 1105 going to be that newest area of support. Now, what I'm actually going to do is adjust this level up and call the ideal level right here at 1130. Ideal meaning, if you're saying, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest going forward? And that would be if the price can stay above 1130. But if the price falls below it, doesn't mean the chart's destroyed or anything like that. But yeah, if the price can stay above it, that'd be a great sign of power because, again, from the overarching standpoint, we're going to once again use that 50-period moving average. So from a broader sense, as long as the price stays above that purple line, then the overall trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. In terms of areas of resistance, as you're seeing here, been a long time since the price has been up this high. In fact, let me just change things down here. Let's go to 4-hour time frame. Now each one of these candlesticks represents 4 hours. So we're having to go back quite a bit to find the next potential battleground here for resistance. And yeah, that is right here at $11.50. So $11.50, that near-term level, but all things considered today, very, very powerful day. Next one, TPET. Talked about this one on Friday. Also talked about the pattern here, and not a very clean break, but nonetheless, there was this bull pennant here that had formed, and you can see now the break has occurred. But I said nothing explosive, not totally a clean break, but a break nonetheless. So we'll kind of start afresh here. And I will say that the area of resistance moving forward, got to think a lot of people are watching this general area right up here at about 71 cents, because now this is essentially right here the third time that it was rejected, because you had right here and then right here. Again, not specific, but a little bit of a range element. So if you want to call it 70 cents or 72 cents, that's fine. I wouldn't argue against that. I'm just trying to find a middle ground and go with the 71 cent mark. But point here being is somewhere up around here, generally speaking, every time the price has shown up and gotten up around that area, the momentum has disappeared and the price has gotten rejected back downwards. Doesn't mean that that area is impossible to break. I'm just saying that according to the story that's being told to us via the chart, apparently the price really is going to need to bring its A game to push up through there. And then in terms of areas of support, again, that ideal level, which we talked about, would make this chart look the healthiest and strongest moving forward. That would be if the price could stay up there above the 48 cent mark. But then from the overarching standpoint, we once again have that purple line there, just helping us out from an overall standpoint in terms of as long as the price stays above there, the bulls are in full health. Next one, SPCB. Overall, nice looking mover here and a good solid pattern that you got to think a lot of people will be watching. And I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. So the top part of the pattern right here at 51 cents, and then bottom part of the pattern, oops, grabbed the wrong line. There we go. Bottom part of the pattern right here, that area of support. Let me change that to green for support, and then maybe make that pattern easier to see. Let's keep it all one color. So we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big upwards move here. For you golfers out there, try to make it a little bit more visual. Put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. So there are no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can come up to the top part of the pattern and get the break, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible scenario. So if you like bull pennants, you like penny stocks, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one, LGVN, and this is why I like to do these when the market is open, because check out the last 30 minutes as I speak. This thing is pushing to new highs. This is a big green candle, and that illustrates exactly why going into Thursday into Tuesday, that would be a key level and key dynamic to watch, because at this point in time, it becomes very, very credible to throw out the question, okay, is this thing about to break to new highs? Now, yes, there's still work that needs to be done, but like I said, this last 30 minutes is showing good solid movement, so it becomes a whole lot more credible now to throw out kind of a question mark up at that level at 341 and wondering, is there going to be another breakout that occurs of it as the price gets closer and closer as I speak. Now, preferably speaking, moving forward in terms of supports, a level that would make this look the healthiest now is that pink line there, just based on the rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support, and you can see this level was acting as resistance a few occasions, but as I speak right now, the price has clearly shattered that level. But from the big picture standpoint, yeah, you guessed it once again, that purple line there, which will continue to creep higher and higher. As long as the price stays above there, then the overall chart is healthy. But at least in my opinion, the main dynamic right now is all about this last 30 minutes. Big green candle. Can it come up to that level, and can it break up through 341? We'll see what happens on Tuesday. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box you can use to get signed up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, MPW, and started off today very, very nicely, gap up. Price ran all the way up to here and then started to come down and come down and come down. And at this point, it always becomes very valid to throw out the question, is this one of these situations where it's a massive gap and trap and the price is going to go right back to where it started? But we got our answer. And as of now, no, it does not appear to be, because the price at least started to go sideways. Now, just because it went sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed this is the bottom and the pullback's over and it'll go back up. My point here is it becomes a whole lot more credible as compared to, let's just say the price was still dropping. And I'm saying, hey, it's looking like this could be the bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price is literally dropping down. But that's not the case here. It has started to go sideways. So again, does that mean that the pullback is over? It doesn't. It just becomes a lot more plausible. So main area of resistance that I would keep an eye on moving forward, right there at $4.85. This really does seem to be essentially kind of the top part of this little consolidation pattern that's forming. So yeah, if this thing can come up some more and get the push up through it, maybe it gets a whole nother round of bullish momentum. Next one, NIO, and another just brutal day on this one. There was this little miniature sideways channel here that had formed on Friday, but that was just absolutely destroyed today. So we're going to get rid of those levels and just start afresh here. And the reason why I'm following this one is because it's a cult stock. A lot of people out there watching it, looking for any reason at all to buy. And when you have that sort of, ingredients out there, it can produce some very dynamic bounces. So the first level is just nothing fancy logic-wise in terms of support, other than asking the question, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And the bleeding finally stopped right there at 382. So for that reason alone, that'll be the main level. And then just also from a bigger picture story standpoint, if this is some sort of bottom, well then by definition, you're going to want to see the price stay above that level, because if it doesn't, well, that would imply that new lows are being put in, which is the exact opposite of putting in some sort of bottom. So keep an eye on 382, from those different angles. If there is any sort of attempted bounce in the upwards direction, initial key battleground that stands out to me right up there at $3.93. So we'll see what happens. But called stock getting absolutely beat down. Is there a dead cat bounce here, though, around the corner? Let's see how the next couple days play out. Next one, RIVN. Talked about this a few days ago, and in fact drew in this bear pennant pattern. So yeah, bear pennant, which was right there. None of that, just because something's bearish doesn't mean that it'll for sure go down. But it's also not shocking when something like this happens, where you got the bearish breakdown, and then it bled on Friday, and then that much more of a downwards movement today. So just classic example there of a bear pennant playing out. And now we have another situation where what I'm curious about was this thing got pretty steep here. Once again, there we go. Got pretty steep here in terms of that trend line. I mean, that was a pretty aggressive trend line. But as I speak right now, the price is doing battle with it and is actually slightly above it. So my question just to throw out there is, is this the start of a bigger break back to the upside? And that's what a watch list is all about. Finding unique, finding interesting situations, and not randomly rushing out and buying things, but watching it. Now, maybe you don't find this very unique, very interesting. Fair enough. No problem at all. This one's probably not going to be on your watch list. That would be my guess. But if you do like these situations where you're getting these things beat down quite a bit, you're getting these steep trend lines, and then you're starting to get some movement above the trend line, and you find these situations, interesting, then yeah, I would say you'd want to get this one on your watch list, because these things can make big, nice movements back to the upside, and you're always looking for some sort of potential leading indicator. So if you find these, like I said, these sorts of sets of circumstances fascinating and worth keeping an eye on, then definitely get it on your watch list. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and very, very brutal movement today. Had been doing a good job of, being inside of this little channel here, but you can see opening 30 minutes, price came down, broke down through 170 and never really looked back. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these levels as they serve their purpose for now, because in the near term now, all eyes have now switched to this secondary area of support that I talked about. I don't quite remember when, because it's been a long time since the price has been down around this area. But $160.50 is now well within striking distance, and that's going to be a very important level. And that is where it's coming from. You can see after this very steep move down, came right there and actually got a very nice upwards move. Now, does that mean that it's for sure going to do the same thing? Of course not, no guarantees. But if you do like to play those double bottom type situations where you can have a nice risk reward, put in a tight stop. If you get the bounce, then great. If not, you had a tight stop anyways. Then 160.50 is going to afford you that sort of opportunity. In terms of areas of resistance, if there is any sort of attempted bounce back in the upwards direction, main area in my mind to keep an eye on would be right up there around the 164 mark. But yeah, no doubt about it. Another brutal day here for Tesla, but 160.50, is that going to be some sort of potential double bottom? Let's see how the next couple days play out. Next one, TQQQ, and this one had a very rough day here. It is tied to the NASDAQ, so the NASDAQ goes down. This one also goes down, and 58.05 was the level that I talked about quite a bit, and you can see that it tried so hard, little miniature hammer candle right there, but eventually the bulls just could not hold, and then the rest is history, nasty downwards flush. So I'm going to get rid of those levels as they've served their purpose for now. And then I'm going to change this to the 4-hour time frame, because we're going to have to go back quite a bit into the history of things. But the level that I'm now very curious about in terms of supports is this gap close location right here at $55.20. And this is coming from back here in February. So we're talking about definitely several weeks ago. So keep an eye on that 55.20 mark. And I am going to go back to the 30-minute time frame, but just keep in mind that's where that green line is coming from. If there is any sort of attempted bounce in the upwards direction, then the main level to watch in the very near term going to be right here at that level of $56.65. And then, of course, I probably should have kept that one in there and just went from green to red, but then have that level up there right around the 58.05 mark too. And I definitely should have both those mapped out, because in case it decides all of a sudden spring back upwards. But yeah, all things considered, brutal day today. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for you stock traders out there, if you enjoyed what you saw here, you want to learn more, then definitely go get signed up for that free webinar. It'll be in a couple of days, Thursday, April 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So go get signed up. Now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick disclosure here. I am now on the 4-hour time frame. As I already mentioned, instead of each of these being 30 minutes, they're 4 hours, because Bitcoin is open 24/7. So I want this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible. But yeah, brutal movement today as the price is now down below that green line right there. So that in of itself, key rule, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So let's just say you're watching this video 15 hours from now. Question number one you need to ask yourself is, where is the price at relative to 64,500? If you're answering the question, the price is above there, then that's great. That implies that Bitcoin has got some sort of bounce going. How good of a bounce? Well, then second question, where's the price at relative to those moving averages? If somehow you're answering the question that the price is also above those, then that is telling you Bitcoin is having a very, very impressively strong movement. Now, I doubt the price is going to be up above those moving averages, but you never know. But like I said, first question starts off with, where's the price at relative to 64.50? Because that is going to be the initial area of resistance. Now, if you're answering the question, where's the price at, or if you're saying, well, Clay, the price is actually below 64,500, Then the next key question is going to be, okay, well, where's the price at relative to these lows right here at 61,000? Let's see, right there at the 61,004. No, still not quite at the lows there. There we go. 61,300. If you're answering the question that the price is down below there, okay, well, how far down below? The further down below from 61,300, the prices, that would just illustrate that the bears are not only still in control, but gaining that much more control. But if you're answering the question that the price is still below there, but up above there, well, then at that point, Bitcoin is essentially just in consolidation mode. So those are the questions I would walk yourself through. But yeah, as of right now, bears are looking pretty strong. And just as I invited those stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader, because what you're learning about in this class definitely can and should be used for your Bitcoin and crypto trading too. So like I said earlier, Thursday, April 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, go get signed up. As far as the top 10 videos plus Bitcoin is concerned, if you enjoy these, hit the like button, leave a comment. It really helps out with the algorithm, helps out with the channel. So like I said, even if it's just leaving a comment such as your watch list for tomorrow or what you trade today, everything helps out. So I appreciate you watching. Take care and go get signed up for that free class.